Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Let's start in 2 minutes. Thanks. Please take a seat.
Buongiorno, molto bene, grazie.
Hey, Marcus. Okay. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining the final conference of the Alpine Space BeyondSnow project. Thank you for Città Metropolitana di Torino, Metropolitan City of Turin, to host us in Turin today. And also thanks to the Politecnico University of Turin to host again in with the Metropolitan City of Turin for this final event of the project. I give the floor to our host today. Sonia, please.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And I will keep it very short so that I leave the floor to the speakers this morning. But you have my warmest welcome in our headquarters in the Metropolitan City of Turin. The Metropolitan City of Turin is the biggest metropolitan city in Italy, and it's especially characterized for the presence of mountain and rural regions. So with this Alpine Space BeyondSnow project, what we aimed at was to reach climate, to reach awareness for the climate change, which is real and is here to stay, unfortunately. So what we need to do, and I thank all the partners, I do not name names so I don't forget anyone, but all the partners that are here, and especially for their contributions to this project. Because with this project, we tried to imagine a future for our local mountain communities, which is less linked, less dependent from the snow, because the snow in 10 years from now will be even less. And so we need for our mountain communities to live and to thrive. And to do that, we need to help them find a different model for their economic structure, especially for the tourism, which has to be tourism which is sustainable and also, as I previously said, less snow dependent. And I think we did all together a very good job, but as we discussed yesterday, it's just a starting point. We need not to stop here because our local communities still need our help. And so as local entities, we need to help our communities, not only for the time being, but also for their future, to help them reach a new economic model, and most of all, to strengthen their resilience towards the climate change. I thank everyone for being here, especially Marco Bussone and Marco Gallo, the two Marco, one is from UNCEM and the other one from Regione Piemonte, in charge for the mountain policies for Regione Piemonte. And I leave the floor to Marco Gallo. Thank you so much, everyone.
Sì, infatti. Good morning to everybody. I have not the perfect English of Sonia, so I'm sorry, but I speak in Italian if it's possible. Okay? Okay. Thank you very much. Because, come ha detto Bussone, fatichiamo già a dire delle cose intelligenti e interessanti in italiano, e quindi se andiamo ancora a tradurle simultaneamente facciamo qualche pasticcio. Allora, innanzitutto vi ringrazio per l'invito, perché questo è un momento importante in cui si fa il punto su un progetto che condivide pienamente, che la Regione condivide pienamente, perché la linea della Regione Piemonte, ne abbiamo parlato tante volte con Sonia e con altri assessori della città metropolitana e della città di Torino. Sulle politiche montane c'è una convergenza di intenti e una collaborazione che è veramente importante, e che credo che nel prossimo futuro possa portare dei risultati concreti e utili per la nostra montagna piemontese. Noi abbiamo un sistema, nelle mie deleghe io sia la montagna sia il sistema neve, quindi sono argomenti di cui mi occupo quotidianamente. Con Marco Bussone abbiamo un'interlocuzione quasi quotidiana sui problemi e sulle soluzioni della montagna piemontese, che è una montagna che dal rapporto montagna che Bussone sta portando in giro per tutta l'Italia, che è un importante lavoro che è stato fatto da UNCEM, è una montagna comunque che ha anche tante prospettive e che in fondo a un tunnel vede una luce importante. Quindi i lavori che sono stati fatti, le politiche della montagna che sono stati fatti comunque in questi anni stanno cominciando a dare dei risultati. Dall'altra parte mi occupo di sistema neve, quindi conosco anche quelle che sono le problematiche di un settore comunque che deve fare i conti con il cambiamento climatico. Quindi diciamo che si intersecano molto bene gli obiettivi di questo progetto. Noi nello stesso bando che abbiamo che è in corso in questi mesi di sostegno alle stazioni sciistiche piemontesi, che sono un settore importante perché abbiamo oltre 50 stazioni sciistiche dislocate da piccole a medie a grandi stazioni internazionali sulla nostra regione Piemonte. Abbiamo parlato anche lì di destagionalizzazione. Questo credo che sia un tema molto importante perché la nostra montagna, in seguito ai cambiamenti climatici, che sono un tema che insieme alla intelligenza artificiale praticamente viene toccato praticamente in tutti i convegni, di qualunque cosa si parla comunque sempre di cambiamenti climatici e intelligenza artificiale. Ma questo credo che sia un tema che, affrontato insieme e cercando delle soluzioni che sono condivise su un progetto del genere, che ha una portata molto vasta perché non riguarda solo naturalmente la regione Piemonte, ma riguarda tutto lo spazio, uno spazio alpino molto più ampio. Quello che volevo dire è che è importante quindi condividere questi percorsi insieme. Proprio in questa prospettiva recentemente la Regione Piemonte ha istituito l'osservatorio sul cambiamento climatico, quindi un osservatorio sul clima dove partecipano oltre alla Regione, questo è un tavolo dove siedono l'ARPA, il CNR, le università, è un tavolo che vogliamo comunque allargare perché vogliamo condividere, come dicevo, un percorso che possa portare anche sul nostro territorio delle azioni concrete, che saranno magari delle azioni piccole, non saranno delle azioni che possono avere dei risultati strabilianti, però credo che si debba partire dal basso comunque per dare delle risposte, avere dei risultati sul territorio. Quindi diciamo che questo bellissimo progetto che state portando avanti, questo progetto Interreg che fa parte dello spazio alpino, è condivisibile. Io cercherò di fermarmi il più possibile perché sono molto interessato poi a quello alle relazioni che ci saranno dopo, anche per, come ho detto in apertura e chiudo, continuare quel rapporto di collaborazione con Città Metropolitana, Città di Torino, UNCEM e tutti coloro che sono comunque coinvolti nei processi di salvaguardia della nostra montagna. Grazie a tutti e buon lavoro.
Marco Bussone, please.
Grazie, hello everybody, thank you. Grazie alla Città Metropolitana che ci ospita. Sonia, grazie. Guardo anche Elena, guardo Carla, tutto lo staff. Con Marco Gallo abbiamo un rapporto intenso nel definire percorsi nuovi. Con la Città Metropolitana BeyondSnow ha montato percorsi nuovi e credo, guardando dalla Carnia all'Austria ad altri contesti, abbiamo montato sinergie. Progetti Interreg, ha detto l'assessore Gallo, devono aiutarci a studiare, analizzare e poi stare nella concretezza. Con Elena ce lo diciamo sempre, perché altrimenti se non siamo concreti non abbiamo con noi le comunità, abbiamo un po' di figure che ci credono, come tutte quelle che stiamo qui, di buona volontà, ma poi dopo le comunità non le abbiamo. Credo invece, e l'ho visto anche in diverse riunioni che abbiamo fatto sui territori, ricordo diversi incontri ad Ala da Guido, da Rocci, che ci ha ospitato, ricordo altri appuntamenti. Ad Ala avete visto un po' di, quando siete arrivati a Balme avete visto, cos'era, c'era un po' di tutto lì che si muoveva per strada, hanno sostituito gli abitanti, i quadrupedi, la traduttrice si arrabbierà. L'altro giorno ho fatto arrabbiare una traduttrice perché dicevo delle cose che non erano tanto in sesto. Non si arrabbino. No, torno serio. Credo che noi abbiamo bisogno di aiutare le valli a trovare le loro vocazioni. Prima è stato citato il rapporto sulla montagna. Ogni territorio ha una specifica vocazione. Le alte valli di Lanzo non hanno la vocazione di Sauris e della Carnia, vero Sermes? Non è così. Dobbiamo però guidare dei percorsi grazie a questi progetti che facciano crescere le comunità nelle loro vocazioni, che alcune saranno più legate alla neve e allo sci, e su questo ha ragione Marco Gallo, ha ragione la regione. Investiamo nel modo giusto, Alberto. Se ci sono altri contesti vicini a noi che sono più vocati ad altri temi, aiutiamoli a esaltarli. Noi ne avremo altre. Andare oltre, Beyond Snow, è anche la capacità di non essere ancorati al particolare, al rancore, un po' all'arrabbiatura, non uso francesismi perché non si traducono, ma non essere anche arrabbiati. A volte siamo un po' arrabbiati sul fatto che Elena non riusciamo a guardare abbastanza avanti. Su questo Beyond ci deve aiutare ad andare un po' oltre. Anche c'era sempre una vecchia espressione dei partiti di una volta: vedersi nuovi, vedere i territori nuovi. E su questo devo dire che questi progetti un po' ci hanno aiutato a vedere i territori nuovi e trasformati. Poi come lo mettiamo in pratica? Qui c'è una grande fatica. Le analisi sono fatte benissimo. Federica Corrado fa delle analisi perfette con Eurac e con gli altri amici, vero Federica? Le analisi sono perfette. Poi come le attuiamo? Abbiamo bisogno di lavorarci intensamente ed entra in gioco la politica. Chiudo su questo. I progetti sono intelligenti e bravi se poi dopo hanno istituzioni capaci di accompagnare dei percorsi, che siano le comunità di montagna del Friuli, le unioni montane del Piemonte, e che siano i comuni che lavorano insieme. Le unioni sono unità, sono noi. Il Beyond Snow vuol dire andare nel noi, non perdersi nell'io. Su questo, Sonia, voi siete bravissimi qui nel tenere insieme il particolare. Il particolare non ci aiuta ad andare oltre. Noi invece guardiamo a una sfida di democrazia con questo progetto. La neve, cosa c'è oltre la neve? È la democrazia che ci insegna cosa c'è oltre. Su questo tutto l'impegno nell'essere appunto comunione e comunità che si rinnova, si trasforma grazie a studi e ricerche che non rimangono oggi un martedì mattina fra qualche amico e amica, ma diventano strumenti di coesione nuova che ci fanno crescere. Grazie di cuore a chi lavorerà stamattina. Io non mi fermo molto, devo andare in Calabria. Calabria non hanno più niente. Erme, dovete spiegargli cosa avete fatto in Friuli, perché non hanno più niente. Lì ci sono le elezioni, bisogna aiutarli a fare delle aggregazioni di territorio, altrimenti si perdono nell'io. Noi invece cresciamo nel noi.
Thank you, Marco. Now I give the floor to my colleague, Filippo Favilli, in charge of our group of research in Eurac, for a few words about our institute. And, we lead this project. Then Elena and Andrea for a very brief speech.
Thank you, Andrea. Good morning, everybody. It's my pleasure to introduce you Eurac. Maybe some of you don't know what Eurac is, so it's my task to tell you what Eurac is. Eurac is a private research center in Bolzano. It was founded in 1992 with the aim of studying the mountains from all different points of view, including especially the communities, the laws, the nature, and put this all together in 11 institutes and 5 centers. Now Eurac counts more than 700 employees. So it's a very big, huge reality in South Tyrol, but not only for South Tyrol. And this project signs a sort of starting point for us, because even if tourism was always one of the main topics for the Institute for Regional Development, where we work, this project signs a new path for us, because it's time really to, as many of you said, to start again, to renew especially the tourism destinations, and not do the work as it always been done, but see communities in a new phase and help them, as you said, to pass from studies to concrete actions. This is our aim. We are here to support politicians, to support communities in doing something new. And this project is a new path for us, and we want to continue in this way with all of you. And we also have a new group specifically for tourism that will be led by our colleague Philipp in this new organization of Eurac. So tourism again will be one of our main topic, and also the climate adaptation strategies. So that's all from my side. I really thank you for being here and for the work done in these years. And I'm sure that we will continue in this path and we'll have a lot of satisfactions. Thank you so much. And now I give the floor to Elena Di Bella from the Metropolitan City of Turin.
Thank you, Philipp, also for taking the role of moderator of today's conference.
Thank you very much. Welcome in Torino, everybody, and welcome in Metropolitan City of Torino. I think that we can get and keep with us 3 acknowledgements from this project, at least. The first one is that networking is the base of a strategy. To have a new strategy for sustainability, for a tourism more sustainable, we need an efficient and real networking between private and public among them, the different level of public authorities. And not always the flow of information communication is at the best. And then we need really to fit and to contribute to really to improve this networking, public and private, and public among the different level of competencies, and also private individuals, collective. Then this is one of the main aspects we have really daily to work on it. Metropolitan City do it, but this project show us once more how is important this networking in Lanzo Valley in particular, but in all valleys of our territory. The second acknowledgement that already Sonia and others says is that only we have now with this project only started the process of our consciousness about the main challenge we have to face about climate change. Then a process that we have to fit daily and to continue to fit. The projects are 3 days, not 3 days, but 3 years of timing. And then when they stop, usually we go down and we keep our daily life. No, we have now to keep the consciousness about the importance of the process we started, about a new tourism and new strategies. And this is a responsibility in charge of public authorities. The third acknowledgement is about the best practices. Our pilot actions was best practices. Now these best practices can show a new ways to go forward on the future, and also can be an example for other areas, other territories in our metropolitan city of Torino, for all the Alps. Then also best practices we can use. For example, in our case, we will show after the second homes project pilot action that is very interesting to continue to keep and to be an example for other territories. Then with these three important acknowledgements and responsibility, we'll keep on after Beyond Snow. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Elena. I give the floor now to the head of department for Politecnico of Turin. Please, the floor is yours.
So good morning. My name is Andrea Bocca, and I'm the head of a strange department here in Torino. We have this weird entity which is at the same time part of Politecnico and of the University of Torino, which means it is by design a multidisciplinary thing, which was created 40 years ago to allow people from the planning disciplines and the people from geography, basically, to cooperate in order to better address the challenges about territories, local development, and so on. This was 40 years ago, but the challenge is still there. And in the meanwhile, we have grown to 108 researchers, encompassing, well, not all disciplines actually, but most of them, from anthropology to sociology, from economics to management, from, of course, planners, to even people who are skilled in STEM, in the hard sciences, which means potentially we have the knowledge. Sometimes we have it for real, and it is my opinion that what we can best do is to work on this kind of projects. Why? Because, as it was already mentioned, you can't do anything useful for society, for a certain territory, if you go vertical on one single aspect. Okay, a road has collapsed, you go there and fix it. Okay, that's an engineering task. Maybe it works. But where does the road lead to? Why is there a road there? I mean, things are always much more complex, and this is perhaps the contribution research can offer to complex entities such as mountain areas, which tend to be depopulated, and all the things you know much better than me. Also, I think that Federica and her staff have done a wonderful job in being honest. Because going on with this narrative focused on winter tourism, on ski development, it can't be the future of our mountains. And being honest is the first step to find other options. Traditions are very good for the identity of a territory, but we need to keep in mind that traditions have always evolved over time. So if winter sports have been an attractor for some time in our mountains, well, we can creatively develop something started from there, but we need to step 1 or 2 steps back and have a much broader picture of what local development in these areas can mean. So research is there, as Filippo already mentioned, to support these processes, but it is then the role of local communities and politicians to take the baton and implement those nice research we have done. Thank you very much and enjoy your day here.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to the Alpine Space Program Joint Secretariat, Marco Decostanzi. Matteo, scusa. Matteo è tuo fratello. La presentazione sul desktop.
Okay, so good morning and thank you for having me. First of all, I would like to bring the greetings and congratulations from Christine Bauer and from Thomas Fleury, which are respectively the head of the managing authority and the joint secretariat of the program. I'm here today to briefly introduce, let's say, to the program side of the BeyondSnow project. For those of who maybe are not familiar with the program, it is an Alpine space. It is a European Union program that funds transnational cooperation across the Alpine region. It brings together 7 countries and tackled shared challenges such as climate change, digitalization, population shift, and territorial changes in general. It is important, and we'll see some of the things that have been mentioned already by the other speakers resonate with this presentation, because our focus is not research alone, but finding a practical solution for public authorities and for all the stakeholders that make up and compose the Alpine communities. For this programming period, so 2021-2027, Alpine Space supports projects that helps the region become more greener, more climate resilient, energy efficient, circular, innovation driven, and cooperatively governed. These are the 4 priorities. And within the first 3 thematic priorities, we have 2 specific objectives. BeyondSnow sat within the first specific objective of the priority 1, in which the program aimed and looked for projects that address the consequences of climate change and the challenges that it brings to the nature, but also to society and to the economy. So climate change does not happen in isolation, although it's still perceived sometimes as a distant topic to the lives of citizens, but we see that actually it's really the opposite. And in this context, beyond the issues addressed by the project BeyondSnow was fully relevant in our eyes. So the progressive loss of snow coverage, and especially the focus on low altitude and smaller resorts and ski destinations that have less also power in terms of economic power, in terms of staff and resources that they can apply to transition, and also are the ones that are affected the first. So this cross-sectoral dimension of the project in addressing the economic and the societal also impact of climate change, as well as for us, what was very important was the co-design process that was applied within your pilot with the development of the transition strategy for the pilot areas, in which solutions were tailored to the specific need of the different areas. Another aspect that I would like just to briefly mention, it's the communication effort. And this is sometimes something we have all the projects that we fund. I'm happy to say that are very good projects, but sometimes projects overlook a bit the communication aspect and communication of what you are doing, of what the program contributes to do through your job on the territory it's really important for us, and I think we will see today maybe the results of the engagement of the citizen with your photo challenge, photo collection. So that was what's very important for us. I will conclude now a bit on a personal note. So I've been the project officer of BeyondSnow for the past 2 years and a half. I come from a really close by mountain area, and I've actually, after university, in between jobs, I worked one winter as a ski lift operator in a small mountain resort. So I've seen firsthand the changes that are affecting our alpine range, our mountain range, and how seasonal work is changing. So it was very meaningful for me to follow this project and how it went on. And finally, I would like to say also a thank you and a congratulations to the lead partner. As you know, or maybe you don't, but project officer and the joint secretariat only relates and discuss things with the lead partner. So unfortunately, in these years, I did not have the pleasure to meet all of the partners, but I exchange and I spend a lot of time discussing with Andrea, Philipp, Agnese, with Stefania. I think we found a very good way to work together, to cooperate, to solve all the practical issue that comes on when you implement and you put in practice something that's very nice on paper, but then you have to do it. So I wish you, I was where you see the small arrow, it's my office in Salzburg, and it's where I was looking at your report and how things were going. So I wish you all a successful final event and hopefully a continued success in building upon the results that you have collected up to now. Thank you.
Thank you, Matteo. Now we have, give me 1 second. I need to step back to this slide because we have a brief presentation. I don't know if a presentation of a talk by Massimo Lapolla, officially EUSALP AG2 representative today for us, because the other colleagues are not able to join us for other businesses. So Massimo, please open the mic. You're welcome to.
Hello, Andrea. My mic is open. I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Yes, we can hear you. Please.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Massimo Lapolla, and I'm sorry for not being there. Even if I work for Piedmont region, I'm based in Brussels. So it's a pleasure for to be there with you today, even if it's just virtually. As you said, together with my colleague Sylvain Guétaz, I'm co-leader of the action group on economic development of the EUSALP, so the macro-regional strategy of the Alpine area. And I think that a lot have been said in these greetings. So I would really like to thank you, Andrea, to thank all your partners for the job you have done. We cooperated a lot during the last months. And I think that it has been a great work to do together. I have only a couple of words to tell you. Just I would like to stress 3 keywords or 3 sentences, and to give to the floor maybe for a discussion or a debate. And the keywords, according to our vision and our experience, are the following. The first one is a clear vision, which means political appropriation of the contents we are dealing with, and most of all, having a holistic approach when it's about tourism and the, let's say, the challenge we are facing on this topic. The second keywords and concept is the territorial dimension. We all check that we are facing the same challenges, we are living the same issues, but most of the time, every specific territory has his own characteristic and his own answers to these issues and challenges. So the territorial dimension and the place-based approach, as we say here in Brussels, it's a keyword and an instrument, a tool, which is very useful when it's about facing this content. And the third one, I would like to say it's cooperation. And I would like to stress the fact that when we talk about cooperation, we are not only talking about cooperation among regions and partners and different countries and cultures, but it's also an intergenerational cooperation. In our case, we are strictly in close touch with the Youth Council of the EUSALP Macro-Regional Strategy. We have done a lot of discussion together. We have drafted some solutions together, and you, Andrea, you were one of the main characters of this recent exercise we have done in Domodossola in Piedmont together with the Youth Council. So I would say that these three aspects are the, in a fast and furious way, the summary of what we are doing and what we would like to do with the action group dedicated to economic development of the macro-regional strategy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Massimo, also for joining us online. I would like to also suggest further, joint project with you and the other colleagues from EUSALP, and also for maybe in the next programming period for the Alpine Space program projects. Thank you very much again. Now,
okay, now let's get into it.
Yeah, a bit more.
Now, finally, after the opening speeches, we thank all the speakers, and now I give the floor to Andrea Omizzolo. Then he will start explaining why we need a project like BeyondSnow. So Andrea, please.
Thank you. Alors, we started this project not, from our side of the wall, but starting this project was expected by the local public authorities here in Piedmont and in Lombardy region first. And also citizens from local communities stressed, I think, some local and national associations, like, for example, Legambiente, our partner, not only CIPRA Italy, CIPRA International, Dislivelli, and other colleagues, to start a project because of the climate change and the climate change in mountain areas. So the project started because of two facts, not ideas. First, climate change is real. Second, climate change affects in particular our Alps, our mountain territories. These two facts are the basis for our projects. This means for us the increase of temperatures, of course, global warming, but not only the increase of the precipitation variability in mountain areas, the increase of extreme events and natural events for us in mountain areas, and of course the decrease of the snow cover, but not only, decrease in snow quality and the quantity and the time during the winter period, the winter season, in which we have the possibility to have the snow in mountain areas. This impact and affect ecology, economies, society, and this means in particular for our economy, based on the fact of the presence of the snow in mountain areas, a negative impact on the snow tourism destinations, in particular the ones we have, below 1,500 or 700, depends of the part of the Alps you are in. This means for us that below this line, we will experience the lack of snow and so on and so forth. But maybe in the upper part of the mountains, we will have more snow than in the past, but in different conditions. So that's why we are working also with other colleagues in other projects, maybe Transstat project, that are related more on the effects in snow tourism destination, maybe the biggest one, or in general, this mountain tourism destination. For us, especially means the impacts on small snow tourism destination at low and medium altitudes, because they are suffering in maintaining snow-related activities that are no longer possible at the present. I give the floor now to Philipp to continue our discussion about, the impacts.
Thank you very much, Andrea. As Andrea already introduced you, I will keep it very brief because I know we have a lot of content today to listen to and a lot of very interesting things to hear. So as Andrea said, we of course, through climate change, we already can observe it, how they impact small tourism destinations, especially those who are mainly relying on snow from an ecological, economic, and societal perspective. So winter tourism, of course, from a revenue perspective, one of the most important parts of mountain tourism destinations. We, through climate change, of course, there are several effects that you can observe. For instance, so you see the reduction of skiable days. Usually there is this rule of thumb, which tells you in order to keep snow tourism destination viable in the winter, you need more or less 100 skiable days. Of course, a number which has been reducing a lot, especially in several mountain affected areas. You have, of course, a rising cost of the resource consumption. So a lot of water and electricity to produce technical snow. And you have infrastructure aging and abandonment. And in general, what has been, of course, as well observed, you have sometimes in several areas, a general loss of tourism attractiveness. So what we have seen from the literature and from other examples outside of the project of BeyondSnow, there are actually on a continuum, there are two extremes. So there are several intermediate steps between these two extremes. But on one side, you can see many tourism destinations concentrate on infrastructure and technological adaptation for the preservation, oftentimes, of the economic status quo. And on the other side, we saw also destinations who actually tried to adjust their overall system. So to decrease their dependence on the snow season, in order to go more towards a year-round destination, or as well only to start to increase a little bit the low seasons. So we're talking about spring and autumn. But please, as I said, these are just these extremes. There are many different intermediate steps between these two aspects. And these are actually the ones that we then will hear from our pilot working areas, which really did an amazing job in order to create their transition strategies and adaptation measures. So overall, this is the credo of our project. So it's enhancing the resilience of Alpine space, small, medium altitude snow tourism destinations. We specifically focus on those ones because those, of course, oftentimes are the ones which will feel the impact of climate change the most. But as you saw here, one of the main aspects is also the involvement of the local communities. So we didn't want to create top-down strategies and just throw it on their table and say, you have to follow this. But we created it, or actually our dear partners created it within the communities. And a big thanks to our partners because they really did an amazing job over the last 2 to 3 years. And these are the ones. So on this side, you can see our 13 partners. Each really did an amazing job, contributed with his or her knowledge through the project. And here you can see the pilot working areas, as we call them, the PWAs, something that maybe you will hear throughout today a lot of times. So please keep it in mind, PWAs, pilot working areas. And we had 10 of them, very different from each other, and each created its own specific transition strategy. But from that, we will hear afterwards more in detail. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Philipp. Thank you, Andrea. Now I want to give the floor to Benoît, Nenert. who will give more details about the project and why we need this project. Please.
Good morning, everyone. And thank you, Andrea and Philipp, for asking me to say a few words about the question, why do mountain territories need a transition? So to be honest, I have to confess that when I received your email, when I came back from vacation, I was a little bit surprised. You asked me to try to answer the question, because, I mean, snow is disappearing, as you say, glaciers are melting, mountain forests are dying, mountains are crumbling. So is it really necessary to still answer this question? Why should we do something? So we have been working for 3 years together now. So I think to myself, and I say, no, there are smart guys. So if they ask a question, it's maybe there is a good reason. So that's why, to me, it's important to put the right words in front of the situation we are facing today. So I don't want to create a bad atmosphere here, but I'm sorry, someone has to do it. So it's me, you know, the French guys. So it's, I have to remind that you've heard, I assume, about planet boundaries. So we have to keep in mind that 7 out of the 9 planet boundaries have been exceeded. So today it's not a simple crisis. It's really a big, huge change in our civilization, in the way we are living, which is putting at risk the simple fact to keep on living on Earth. So at La Fabrique des Transitions, and globally, we can consider the situation we are facing today at 3 levels. There is a problem of relationships between human and biosphere, between humans themselves and between societies. So the question is, today, you know, the movie, is it necessary to look up or maybe to face the facts? So I think just to illustrate what I want to say, I find that the picture in the middle, up in the middle, is very interesting. Why? Because it shows big rocks on the road, and this road is not a common road. It's a road allowing the access to the main ski resorts in France, to the big ones. And you know what? There is only one road to access those ski resorts. So maybe, okay, there is a question of snow, but maybe it's not the only question. The other reason why we should ask ourselves the question, why is it necessary to move forward towards a transition, is because, again, I'm sorry to create a bad atmosphere, but we can see that despite rational explanation, awareness, and so on, a lot of reports, PCC conferences, and so on. We saw also what happened just before the COVID crisis. Everything came back to normal, so the famous business as usual. And okay, we can say what a pity, but the question is why. So we have to consider that today transition is it's not question of technology. It's a question of, I mean, at La Fabrique des Transitions, we're talking about the human factor. I don't say the word, but you can imagine it. So the human factor is the main obstacle to transition. Why? Because this is our nature. We don't like change. So because maybe we are afraid to lose our power, because we don't like uncertainty, because we have always done like this, so why should we change? Or technology will save us, or anything like this. And there is also another obstacle, which is related to what we call the narratives. The dominant narratives are the way today the majority of people are, let's say, defining their relationship to the world. So this is the situation today. And so now, what should we do? We don't have the magic solution, of course, but at La Fabrique des Transitions, our experience shown us that transition, as I said, is a question of driving the change. And usually we consider the change management, at 3 different levels. The way we think, the way we act, and the way we are organized, the governance, in one word. And to drive a change, you have to consider those 3 levels simultaneously. So the good news, because I've got a good news, that transition could work. It could be efficient if you consider those 3 levels. And it could also provide us with a lot of opportunities to reinvent the different levels of relationship I mentioned in the first slide. So we have to, transition could be a very good mean to experiment, not fear, even if the situation, we could be scared by the situation, actually, but fear could be a good lever for changing, but desire is better. Desire is better because fear, it's a little bit, it could work, but in the short term, and it's not really inspiring. So by making desire as a major level of transition is really a fantastic opportunity. And this will help to invent new narratives. So it's not a question of putting, opposing one narrative to another. We have first to be aware of the situation, to understand what's happening, but awareness is not enough. It's necessary, but it's not sufficient. So we have to act, and human can change only if they act, if they do something. You cannot change just by, I would say, thinking, reading books. It's very important, of course, but it's not enough. So by acting, and that's why the BeyondSnow project was, of course, interesting. It's because they push some local communities to act, to start the journey toward transition. And so they can try to think about new business model. They can try to change their views on how to use commons like water, like forests, and so on, to get new models of relationship together with more solidarity and trust. Also, and I will end by this. I think it's important not to avoid conflicts, because transition is a question of different views, different values. So it's important to, like we say, to put conflicts at work. What does it mean? For example, if you consider on one side Métabier, which has decided to planify the end of the ski resort activity. And on the other side, for example, Saint-Moritz, which is going to experiment new technology like thermosiphons to cool the permafrost in order to stabilize the mountain. It's really two different views, and it's two different situations. So we cannot afford the conflicts, to avoid the conflicts. And we still have to help local citizens and support their initiatives. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Benoît. Thanks for, personally, I don't think these are bad news. I'm actually calling awareness of the problems that we have, so we don't have to avoid them, but open our eyes more on these things and work. Let's go inside the BeyondSnow Journey, and I ask Cinzia Pesquerat from Legambiente, our project communication manager, to go through and tell us the steps and the process of the BeyondSnow project.
Thank you,
please.
Can you hear me? Yes. And thank you also, Benoît, because when I was writing my speech, I wrote that we had always had a positive approach. And so today, now I will try to recover some negativity, but no, chiudi questa qua. Sì. Sì, io posso fermarlo semplicemente. Ok, grazie. So, as you have seen and heard from my colleagues, when we started the BeyondSnow Journey 3 years ago, we were fully aware of the great challenge posed by the fact that many Alpine communities at low at low and medium altitudes could no longer rely on snow as they once did. Climate change was not even then a distant issue. We could see it in the landscape, in the villages, in the ever shorter winter seasons. But it was also a topic that, especially 3 years ago, still needed to be explored and deeply understood, above all by local communities, as was saying Benoît. We, 13 partners from 6 countries across the Alpine Arc, came together with a shared goal to stand alongside the communities, supporting them in strengthening their resilience and imagining new possibilities for the future. We did not want to limit ourselves to studying the problem, but to accompany the territories through a transition process with a positive approach, not only acknowledging the decline of snow, but also discovering new opportunities. In my talk, I will present, or try to do it, how the project was carried out, and I will do this by showing some of the images and stories that we collected during these 3 years, while sharing with you the meaning behind them. I will ask you some patience because there is my talk and also pieces of the videos that are going on. This is our kickoff meeting in Bolzano 3 years ago. First of all, how we work. We use a circular method. To accompany this journey, we followed a method that was fundamental for us, a circular process that grew step by step. The first step was data collection and analysis. We began by listening and gathering both quantitative and qualitative information to truly understand the tourism system and the situation in each territory. Then we produced knowledge from reports, support tools were created, and a solid foundation was made to be shared with all. Then the first step is local activation. Because we did not stop at documents, we went into the territories, into the communities to share results and raise awareness. Another step was very important for us, were the co-creation laboratories and the creation of strategies together with the communities. We developed transition paths and guidelines. And then the generalization and transfer, because finally we are now generalizing results so that these experiences, information, and approaches developed inside of our project can also be used by other mountain communities across the Alpine arc. The circle never closes. Data feed knowledge, knowledge strengthens activation, and co-creation generates new data needs. It has been a living method, giving value to both science and human relationships. This was especially evident in our 10 pilot areas. There we tested the method concretely, entering the territories, collecting data, but also listening to people through focus groups and local workshops. Some partners introduced innovative methodologies, such as sensitive diagnosis, which allowed us to bring out not only objective data, but also perceptions, fears, and desires of the communities. And this was particularly important because, as we know, humans are moved by emotions. And so it was really important to study and discover them. This work was made for us by Benoît, Nenert, that you listened before. So there is something to change, to solve, but also some tools that we can use as a solution. You will listen to my colleagues after my talk, but I would like to talk about some of the several concrete tools that we made and that made this journey tangible. I will mention the vulnerability map, which integrates climate, economic, and social data, enabling Alpine communities to clearly see where they are most exposed and where they can respond. The resilience adaptation model, that is a theoretical and practical framework to understand the resilience of destinations and identify where to act. The digital tool, the climate resilience tool, which translates all this into an accessible platform for decision makers, tourism operators, and communities, providing immediate tailored recommendations. And then the transition strategies that are genuine local strategies with objectives and concrete measures to start the transition towards new models of sustainable tourism. In addition, various scientific and outreach reports were produced, offering essential information for those wishing to deepen their understanding of climate change in the mountains. These resources remain available and useful well beyond the project's duration. I would like to stress that these tools were not designed only on paper. They were built together with communities in continuous dialogue. It was a back and forth of knowledge, requests, and possibilities, which made the tools and results concrete, understandable, and applicable to real territories. Forse devo andare solo. Okay. If there is one aspect that truly made a difference in BeyondSnow, it was the relationship with people. In the pilot areas, we met citizens, operators, administrators We listened to fears, but also to hopes. In some places, people shared how difficult it is to imagine the future without snow. In others, we found enthusiasm in rediscovering activities and resources that can make the mountains live in all seasons. A common thread was that, despite local differences, the themes were similar: preserving identity, reinventing work, strengthening communities. This taught us that transition is possible only through bottom-up processes, where dialogue and exchange build trust. The strength of the project also lay in exchange between different communities, comparing experiences, between partners, sharing knowledge, between territories, discovering similar problems and common solutions. This exchange also opened new collaboration with wider networks and organizations, from Interreg Alpine Space to EUSALP and Alpine Convention, from Euromontana to Cipra, and with Legambiente, with whom we worked on the Neve Diversa report. These relationships allow us to multiply the impact of the project and will continue to strengthen Alpine communities beyond snow. And the partnership itself was our secret. Collaborating among partners with diverse expertise created a fertile environment where everyone contributed something and everyone learned. This network of dialogue and cooperation was the beating heart of the project. Here we are in Carnia in our last partner meeting, knowing the beautiful Val Pesarina. Another important part of the project was communication. We took care of it together with the Legambiente team, in particular by myself, Michele Maggi, that is doing photographs also today, and with the collaboration of Mountain Experts Association Dislivelli. We tried to carry out different levels of communications. Obviously all the partners also actively contributed, making communication a shared effort, and that's why we really managed to do a good job. We did it internally to strengthen teamwork and maintain continuous exchange, nationally to engage with citizens, communities, stakeholders in the different Alpine countries, and also at the European level to share tools, experiences, and good practices in a wider dimension. We aim to do this with a focus on quality through newsletters, which were not simple updates, but text intended to teach something, provide perspective, and broaden outlooks. The same goes for social media activities, which were not just visibility channels, but spaces to share knowledge, good practices, and above all, to give voice to our pilot areas, showcasing the territories and communities working with us. A special moment was the Beyond Snow photo contest, which invited citizens, tourists, and photographers to capture through their shots the new Alps beyond snow. It was a creative and moving way to get used to looking at Alpine landscapes with new eyes and to build together a different narrative closer to the future ahead. We also organized 50 events across Alpine countries within what we called the Beyond Snow On Tour initiative. These events were a way to bring the project closer to the people, to raise awareness directly in the territories, and create opportunities for dialogue and exchange. The project's communication strength was also recognized externally. Euronews dedicated a feature to Beyond Snow, giving it a European visibility. All these elements, photos, posts, videos, documentation, articles, will remain available even after the project ends, both on our social channels and on the Interreg Alpine Space platform. so they can continue to inspire and spread knowledge. If you do not do, I invite you to follow our channel. In the website, you will find mainly the documents and reports that we made. On social media, there is more inspiration and stories. In these 3 years, we have learned, that tackling climate change does not only mean managing a crisis, but also, perhaps above all, discovering new opportunities. The absence of snow is not just a loss. It can be the spark to rediscover other mountain values, landscapes, culture, biodiversity, communities. With BeyondSnow, we built tools, knowledge, and strategies, and we help create networks and open new spaces for collaboration. The partnership between project partners and local communities has perhaps been the most valuable outcome, an heritage of ideas, experiences, and people that will continue to live on beyond the project. We hope that experiences like BeyondSnow can multiply, because Alpine communities need support, but they also have so much to offer: resilience, creativity, the ability to imagine the future. The true success of BeyondSnow is this: putting people at the center and showing that together, even in the face of major challenges like climate change, we can find new paths. Thank you.
Thank you, Cinzia. You are also faster than expected. Thank you so much. Doesn't happen so often. And thanks for having shown the importance of going into places and give word to the local communities and to build strategies directly with them. And also on the importance of communication in this kind of projects. So thank you so much. And now we go really into details, and I would like to introduce Agnese Moroni from Eurac Research, who will show us from vision to action, the vulnerability map. Agnese, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Filippo, and thank you, Cinzia. That was, I think, a beautiful story of also our journey, and yeah, thank you, Michele, for the video that really showed all that we went through. And I think now we're going a bit more in detail to some of the milestones that we achieved throughout the project. And one of the first one that Cinzia mentioned already is the vulnerability map, or we started mainly to say, also when Andrea was introducing the project, saying that the Alps are particularly vulnerable, but vulnerability also means a lot. And now we're talking specifically about mountain destinations and tourism destinations. So vulnerability is not just about being affected by climate change or being exposed to climate change. It also entails some other factors that are the characteristics of a mountain area of a region. And so the sensitivity of these destinations to these climate factors that can even increase the impacts of them. And these can be social, demographic, economic. At the same time, also the impacts of climate change can be decreased, or something can be done about that through some adaptive actions. And so vulnerability can be decreased with adaptive capacity of these destinations. And so again, we have to consider also other characteristics, other actions, other factors. And with all these, let's say, dynamic factors, we can then talk about vulnerability of snow tourism destinations. And so that's exactly where we started with the project, understanding, first of all, ourselves, what we really meant by being vulnerable, and so being resilient to climate change, and then trying to use and create a tool that is also visual for others to discuss the issue on the table as well. We selected some indicators, especially coming from previous European projects, so trying to also build on previous knowledge that was created by our colleagues and what we said before, other researchers, and trying to make another or a tool out of it. For sure, the climatic factors are satellite and scenario indicators that come from the European Union, the Copernicus itself, but like especially with the socioeconomic ones, it's really a work in progress still. Some indicators or some characteristics that I was mentioning are still not completely studied, and so that's where we tried to work and create and put together our own concept, let's say, of vulnerability. But for sure, these dimensions are way broader than what we did. It was a first step into our project, and trying to open the door to this discussion and try to also spark a conversation with stakeholders and put really this issue on the table and try and see with each of every area that we worked on, and even other areas, what their inherent characteristics are, and so what are their strengths and weaknesses, and so what their sensitivity factors, and also their adaptive capacity that they already have. And this can go with demographic factors, tourism, their infrastructure, and the governance structures that they have. Already in the video, you could see some pictures and screenshots of the map, and that's on a report where we explain also how we did it, but then it also became let's say an interactive map on a platform that is freely accessible, that you and other destinations can use it as well. So that's what we try to do as an example in our areas, and try to start the conversation, but then it's really putting a tool in the hands of tourism operators and destination managers, administrations, to visualize literally also this problem and the issue. And just to give an example, this is where you would end up, and you can see the level of vulnerability of your destination on a municipal level as well, and play with this tool too, and see all the indicators we used and that we will try to improve, hopefully in other projects or in another context as well. And so, and definitely welcoming every suggestions to work on it together and within your single destinations. And this tool that started then led to a more precise and detailed work to then really work and going from vulnerability to resilience. And that's the next milestone that we had. So thank you.
Thank you, Agnese. Thank you so much. Please go and check these maps. And as Agnese said, let us know if you have suggestions or something to change. Let's go to the climate resilience tool, and I ask Caterina to explain it to us. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So my name is Katarina Zegler. I come from high-tech company Actor Slovenia. So a little something about resilience decision-making digital tool. So you see, when when we applied for the project, this was the official name of the tool. But then afterwards, we just renamed it into much nicer one, friendlier climate resilience tool, because of course BeyondSnow is about climate changes, and of course we want to build resilience with it. So the purpose of the tool is actually to support Alpine destinations, all the the pilot destinations and also wider ones, to adapt to a changing climate. As it was said many times today, of course, the lack of snow, everybody is facing this challenge. But on the other hand, there is also opportunity for the whole season tourism. This tool was actually developed based on the resilience adaptation model, RAM, in the previous work package already presented. And what is this tool about? It's actually an online tool, automated assessment tool, that wants to support snow authorities and tourism stakeholders to assess their current situation and to basically create strategies, the perfect strategies for them. So the tool exists on 69 questions. And of course, how this tool is used. We all know that data is a strategic good, and it's very hard to make proper decisions nowadays. You know, usually we do it like this. You know, very subjective, very closed group of people make decisions, which of course is not always good. You know, because we don't have all of the information. We don't take different indicators into when we are deciding, and also usually sometimes we don't know how well we spent our local resources. This is the problem, you know. So why these kind of tools are important? It's because we are collecting local data. We're not collecting this big data from the big platforms, you know, from Booking, from Skyscanner, you know. We use our own local data. This is very important, yeah. And what we do with this data, we actually then transform them to information, useful information. This is very important. You will see a bit more in the next presentation. It's very hard for a tourism destination, you know, because of course we are not all experts in collecting data. We don't know how accurate this data is. There are so many obstacles to fill in this tool. I can tell you, it's a struggle for the first time. When somebody uses it for the first time, it's a struggle, you know, because just imagine, we'll move to the indicators a bit later, you know, but just imagine there in the local community, you don't have this super power platform where all of this data would be available, you know. So you really need to call your electrical company, you need to call the municipality, the tourist office, you know, on how many tourist taxes were paid. So it's just so many different calls you need to make. And here we come to the second step. Nobody can do it instead of you. So only people from the local community can actually do it, you know, because you know your stakeholders, you know who to call. And the first time you do it, it's very hard. But then each next time, it's very difficult. It becomes difficult. It becomes easy, you know. It's because you already know where these sources are, who you need to call, and also you already are familiar with the tool. So basically, you know the process. But under this project, this was a very hard step for the tourism destinations. And I think everybody did a tremendous job. Also, everybody was supported by us and also by project partners. So let's take a look into the tool. So key functions of the tool. So as I said, assess local characteristics and data, and to identify the vulnerabilities. Technical part, as mentioned, was already developed by Arctur based on the previously developed software, and the content part, this fall completely on the project. So in the previous, everything was like building, you know, we were building this frame. So the first step was like building resilience adaptation model, the indicators, and then we built a tool out of it. As mentioned, a little bit about main indicator categories, because there are 69. I will not mention all, but just to get the sense of what the tool is about. So of course, because it's beyond snow, snow is our focus. We were measuring total seasonal snowfall. As mentioned, this is decreasing. So it's very important, you know, to have this pattern, to understand pattern. So the more you're using the tool, personally, I think twice per year is the best way, because in the beginning of the year and the end of the year, and then when you're doing it for a few years, then you get the pattern, you know, which is very, very important. When you get the pattern, you understand your local, how tourism is on a local level better. Also, when the snow is, so you have this, and then snowmaking infrastructure, seasonality trends, tourism infrastructure, of course, number of accommodation structures. Then you see how this is moving throughout the years, visitor data, seasonality, and of course, tourism flow management. Because of course, tourism flows, it's something it's a hot topic in European level, you know, because you have these popular places, and of course, you want to improve, you want to bring develop new offer, and a little bit redirect this tourism flows on other, maybe not so popular places. Yeah. Socio-demographics, always aging population. We know this. We all have workforce challenges, and also to understand population trends. And of course, it's always about use of energy, of water, all of this natural and other resources. Oh yeah. Yeah, and also, as mentioned, water sustainability actions, which measures we have in the ecological transition, carbon footprint, and of course the data management and digitalization. So what this tool does, you actually put different data in it, you know, real data, and then you receive a report. We'll see that a little bit later. So it's very easy to register and to use. So first, you just need to register to the platform. Oh, there is a QR code that brings you to the tool. Okay. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. So if you scan it, it will bring you directly to the tool. So then you complete this questionnaire with all of this data. And then in the end, you receive a personalized report, AI-based report on your email. So basically this report is developed based on the things that you've put it in. Also, during the project, we've prepared a tutorial video that actually follows you, brings you step by step. It guides you completely. So and also to mention, the tool is available in all project languages. Okay, and also tutorials are in all of the project languages, which is of course, with keeping in mind that the local stakeholders, you know, it's very easy for them. It's easier for them to use the local language. So I think this was essential that we did it. Okay. Yes, the climate resilience report, as mentioned, you receive individual report, and also if you do it twice per year, you know, you can actually compare the report, and then you can see your progress. You know, this is also important. So you receive destination climate tourism summary, key vulnerabilities, data visualizations for decision making. So you really see these graphics, you know, and you see how well you are spending your local resources, you know, how many benefits you are making from tourism, and also which brings you where is room for improvement, and also gives you ideas on your future investments. It can lead you to actionable strategies for adaptation. And you can, of course, achieve a long-term sustainability, which is a main goal. And my personal opinion is that this digital tool is excellent, but you really, really need to have somebody like external experts or some experts, you know, like Benoît, maybe, you know, to really support you with all of these practices, with things with ideas which which measures you can take, you know, how can you improve? So you can plan your actions. The benefits of using the tool. So it's starting to use your local real data. I would say this is step one. This is a huge benefit, you know, it gives you advantage. You also understand real risks, you know, by using local data, and you can develop objective strategies, which is very important. So moving from subjective to objective. Yeah, and as I said, you know, it's not only about reacting, being resilient. It's really, we really want to achieve this long-term resilience, you know, that will benefit all the local residents, you as tourism stakeholders, local economy. So we want to support, we want to bring as much benefits as possible. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Caterina. Very fascinating also, I'd say. And I guess you have many questions, but please keep them in mind, and we will have a Q&A session at the end. Now it's time to go into the 10 strategies, the 10 transition strategies. So I kindly ask Carmen Mentil and Elena Di Bella to go on stage and show us this transition strategies. So please, floor is yours, few minutes.
So good morning. Thank you for welcoming us from the Decostanzi Institute of Technology here. We are 3 persons here. We are happy to be able to come to Torino and meet you again. Elena, it's very nice. And we try to provide some information about the work package we coordinated, work package 2. It was all about putting the analysis, which we have heard now from Caterina, into practice, into a vision with the local stakeholders. So until now in the process, we have worked on analysis, on tools, on background information, and now we went the next step and worked out strategies with our local partners. So Elena, how did it work from your point of view?
Now, from my point of view, I think that this work show the diversity and richness of our strategies and pilot actions and context. And then I think this richness help us to find new ways also, and innovative best practices for guide communities to the challenge we need really to face.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah. So most importantly, the strategies were not drawn up by ourselves as project partners, but with the local stakeholders, mostly presenting them a SWOT analysis, going in depth with on this SWOT analysis, and from that point on, starting to develop a vision for and with the participants on the local level. Yeah. So that was taking place in 10 individual pilot working areas. And from the vision with this participatory approach, you can imagine, or you can imagine how the strategy looks now. In every of our pilot working areas, it looks quite similar. That was the structure given. So we all of us made an introduction to what's the objective of BeyondSnow, what is the international policies, which gives the foundation to our project, and so on. And then we wrote down the status quo of the pilot working area, like in which area are we, what's the figures of local development and tourism, what we heard before about the climate data, and so on. So primary data elaboration was quite a big part of it, which we put down. And then with the local stakeholders, we developed divisions where you really formulate a good long-term vision for your pilot working area. But that is the roof of this house, but it needs to be filled with more concrete objectives. The vision itself, of course, doesn't have so much power in it, but the power is within the objectives where you, in various topics, you create and formulate objectives. They were different in our 10 pilot working areas, and sometimes they weren't so different at all, because we are, of course, in one topic joined together. So these objectives have been got a foundation with what we call fields of action, where it really comes down from a vision to the objective to, okay, what do we do now and in the future? And that was filled with project ideas, with concrete measures, new ones, but some of them have already started. So we tried to draw up and put it into a graph. What is this house of the further and the future development for our pilot working areas? And then we also had to, of course, go into more detail. All these objectives, fields of action and measures and actions, how does it work out in the timeline? So the sixth point is we put it down. Where are the priorities? But having so many ideas in our local areas. What are feasibility indicators? You know, some people have really good ideas, but then you have to get more real and say, it's an excellent idea, but we don't have the funding for it. So in the last point, we really, I think, got really very realistic of what is necessary in the future, what is wanted in the future, and also what can we really achieve. So Elena, you had a more closer look to all of the 10 strategies, where they all have a main goal, and then they have pilot actions. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, only a few words. In the strategies, if you read the title, we have a large number of strategies that are dealing with expansion of summer or winter offer. Then mainly of the partners go deep on this aspect, and then their pilot action was concerning really the touristic aspects of the strategies in a sustainable point of view, but the touristic need really to develop. Other partners, as metropolitan area, work on development of a touristic offer towards sustainability, as and Austria, and then others more on a specific aspects dealing with securing and optimizing the ski operation, then really concrete aspect for creating touristic sustainable products. Then a large variety of different strategies, and also different pilot actions that show once more the richness of our Alps communities.
Yeah, that was really interesting to see the overview of what 10 pilot working areas, where they are different, and then of course also where is the common grounds. So we also worked out a paper which you can download from the BeyondSnow website, where you see the content of these 10 strategies and key considerations taken out of it. And I want to point out some of them. You have the overview here, and I go into a little bit more detail. The key considerations on the local level was most importantly that the strategies have been worked out in a participatory approach. So it was not an expert paper in none of the pilot working areas. It was always involving local stakeholder, including also public authorities and so on. Important, we've seen that all of our pilot working areas want to focus on diversification and expansion of tourism offer beyond snow-dependent options. A lot were focusing on bike possibilities in shoulder seasons and in winter. For, I think, all of our pilot working areas, it was important to have the preservation of local resources, enhancing destinations' attractiveness and fostering environmental sustainability. And that brings also with it the last point here, the local economic resilience, which of course has been of utmost importance for our local stakeholders. And of course, within BeyondSnow, we were so much focusing on the climate risk management. What do we do if we don't have enough snow? We have bad snow or no snow or too much rain. So we developed resilient infrastructure, or the plan to develop a resilient infrastructure. One focal point was not in every strategy, but in many, was the sustainable mobility, being an important leverage to improve the sustainability of our tourists by arrival and departure and at the destination, of course, by enhancing public transport, reducing the carbon footprint and so on. And with all that, that only works and is only possible if you do a lot of awareness raising and education. Thanks, Cinzia, that was a very good insight of what you and your team have done within BeyondSnow, focusing especially on awareness raising, with bringing people together on one table and, you know, giving us also the tools how to do it. And then one last point, this is also interesting. We had, of course, and still have a little bit of BeyondSnow budget from the European Union, Alpine Space Interact, but one focal point also was in this innovative funding to leverage European Union funds, maybe with public-private partnerships, with innovative financial instruments. We are still looking for those, or continuously looking for those, to also be able to afford those investments needed in the future. So I think it was really an interesting process to now also have 10 strategies at hand. Interestingly enough, 10 of them are in their mother tongue, from French, Slovenian, Italian, and German. And also we produced, all of us produced an English short version of it. Maybe Elena, if you want to, what are your key considerations concerning the strategies?
Yeah. The fact that I already said that the very very different institutional context, institutional, environmental, social settings, then our different partners are in different contexts, national different context with different competencies, with a different environment. And then this put in evidence our rich and diverse is the Alpine area. Then also the difficulty to find and to address to a common goal, because we can say that we all agree on the sustainable future of our areas, but then when we have to do things with our local competencies is more difficult. And we are all different. And Germany is not Austria, is not Torino, is not... and then we are starting all from different point of view and possibility, opportunities or strength or weak points, etc. And then this is the first question we have to, the first aspect I think is important to arise. The other aspect is about then the richness of the proposal, strategical and operational, we put in evidence with pilot actions. And then from the organization of creating services as transports that are the real, our weak point in Alpine areas, in local mountain areas, is really a strategical aspect. And then the other aspect concerning also is a structural problem to have local networks efficient and really flowing communication and information, not everybody alone doing the municipality doing one thing, the other municipality in one thing, the individual operators, each one alone, and then it's very difficult to build a strategy and an innovative strategy in this context. And the fact that anyway, our pilot action was really trying to find a different way, different possibility of tourism diversification towards sustainability. The question is, as Benoît said at the beginning, really we need a cultural change, a change of the ground of the of civilization. With this change, we really maybe we will able to really reposition our touristic destinations and not make little change, maybe yes, maybe not, but I want to keep this installation, and we never change in this way. Then this aspect, I think, is really the key question of our the key challenge of our project, and the difficulty is to keep on continuously on this challenge, cultural challenge, that is very difficult for everybody to change permanently, not only tourism, but all the services around, all the territory around, the economical activities around.
Yeah, well, thank you, Elena. For us, the strategies are now the book, the handbook, the manual, which we handed over to our local stakeholders, because our project BeyondSnow finishes. This is the closing conference, but of course it should live on and be, of course, put into action. And we might be gone, but you know, the local stakeholders are still there, and they have a tool now in hand, which of course needs to be updated regularly and so on. But we, I think, altogether did 10 basic strategies. It's coming to an end. I just want to point out one thing. I think what we have achieved in BeyondSnow is what is the most important thing, besides the reports and the statistics and the analysis. Many of your faces I know now, and many of you, and more or less all of you, we became friends. When you got sick, we suffer with you. If you are healthy, we are happy with you. And that's the value added of Alpine space and Interact projects, besides, of course, the very important technical outputs. But the friendships stay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carmen and Elena, especially for highlighting this friendship, because the atmosphere that we breathe in this project has been brought also to the local communities, that they have felt how united this consortium was and is. And so I think they are also very well inspired to put in actions all these strategies. But now let's go really into the pilot working areas. And I kindly ask all the referees of the areas to come here. So, and I will be very strict. I will give you 3 minutes for each working area, because there are 10. So let's keep on, keep it smooth, let's say.
Okay, so we are the first pilot action for these presentations, but I think that maybe it seems that we can be the end, because as you can see, the key words, the situation as a baseline when we started to work with the pilot area is, you see, in the 70s, it was an attractive ski resort of Lecco area. Lecco is a city at the bottom of the Piani d'Erna on the Como Lake. I think that all the people call Como Lake, but in reality it's a Lario Lake because it's a part of Lecco. And then the situation is at 2005, they decided to shut down all the ski plans, because at the beginning of the 2000, there's no snow. So if you can see, it's almost the end of the process now, because the situation now is no snow, no ski plans actually. And so now you can see only some activities like spot activities, excursion. There are some restaurants, nature trails, but nothing in a framework, no vision, not a vision of the community, the stakeholder that live and work there. So this is the situation when we start. And so we can see that, as Elena said, it's just a starting point. With BeyondSnow, we start to create a vision, to create an identity of this community. It was not so easy, but we start, and Benoît said not avoid the conflict. So we started with, we call tensions. It's not conflict, but healthy tensions, because we started with the first workshop with some tension from different stakeholders. But I think it's healthy because it was an opportunity to meet different stakeholders that they never talked before. And so it was an occasion to say everything, anything they want to say to the other one, especially, for instance, the people with the second houses to the cable car manager. So it was something like that. What we can say, I can just focus that the responsibility, because we talk about responsibility, and Legambiente, probably we have the responsibility to push the political part to go on and to keep the attention on this pilot area, not to say, okay, the project finished, okay, we finish, there was the co-design process, and okay, this is the end. But the idea is to push the politics to go on, because it's important, because especially for the stakeholders, the community, they have a great expectation from Legambiente, because we started, and so they want to go on, and so we have this important responsibility as a Legambiente. And the last thing is that about the action, it's important to say that we tried not to focus on tourism. I think it's something interesting to say, because instead of only think of tourism for the transition, we decided to also to prepare a grazing plan to understand that you can have both tourism and also agriculture, grazing, and so we can create a complex of activities to face the transition.
Super, thank you so much. So the next one, these are also some pictures. Adisture Balme, who is in charge of that? Elena, again.
Remember, you have 2 slides, not only one.
Our pilot action concern, we have many, but this is the more structured one, concerning second domes, because we have a large number of second domes in the territory, pilot territory, alla Distura and Balme. We have the measures of the 2 municipalities and their assessori. And then in a really small territory, we have hundreds of units of second homes that are unused, partially unused, or used only for very short periods. And then we want, with the bottom-up process, not with a company arriving on the territory and building everything or deciding everything, but with a company that help us and help municipalities and territory to grow up the owners of the second homes to create their own offer, and then to help us really to show this enormous heritage, and little by little, unit by unit, to really help owners to promote, to be conscious of the importance of the potentiality of the opportunity of to have in a second home, and to promote it, and to create services necessary to really put in the market this property. And then I think it could be really, we started this by a company from Trentino that help us on this and help municipalities on this project. And then really to convert unused homes into a tourist capital. This project started now, but will continue forwards after the project. And then we want to keep helping territories and also other territories on this way.
You have also a second slide if you want to show.
There is a second one,
Yes.
with the photos. See.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
So now let's move to Carnia with Pradibosco.
Good morning, everyone. So, Pradibosco, Valpesarina, belonging to Carnia region. So we decided to invest in enhancing the cycle tourism and creating pathways for hiking and cycling. This because we wanted to respond to the needs of the community. So enhancing and longering the tourist season that it's very, very short, both in summer and in winter. So first of all, responding to a need of the local community, but also trying to activate and create responsibility among the community and the people living in the valley. And we did this how? Listening to the needs, thanks to the participatory process created by BeyondSnow, and also the sensitivity interviews and having real contact with the people and their needs. And so we created this charging station for e-bikes, restoring areas and trails available on paper, but also thanks to virtual maps. And also we financed bike park feasibility study to resonate in a possible development and conversion of our small ski implant. So these are the pictures of how the restoring store stations and e-bike charging stations are supposed to look like. They are gonna be set in these few weeks, and by the end of the month we will have our also kickoff and closing meeting. So 3 things we want to highlight of this path in Carnia. First, the community of Carnia invested also proper funding to enhance this action. So they put additional funding to because we really believe in this project and we want to replicate it also in other municipalities in Carnia. Second, we actuate this project, this pilot action, thanks to Cooperativa di Comunità, which already operates in the territory, bringing services to the community. And third, the community of Carnia has taken into consideration all the needs raised by this interaction with the community. So no need has been left unheard. And with other projects, we want to give space to all the needs of the community. For example, with this recovering of old building that is going to be a museum, but also a public space where to meet and to gather.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's move to Austria now. Alpine Pairs. So we talk about Werfenweg, please.
Yes, hello everyone. Good morning also from my side. I'm pleased to represent the EGTC Alpine Pearls today and to give you some insights about our results and our work from the work in the pilot working area of Werfenweg in Austria. After the development of the strategy and the implementation of the co-design laboratories and so on, we had 8 fields of action in the end, and one of them being the expansions of snow-independent outdoor products and outdoor offers. So for the pilot action, we decided to focus on this and to develop new touristic products. And so the local tourism organization developed 2 new guided hiking tours for the people there, and both of them are focusing on the BeyondSnow topics in general. So the main focus is the topic of water, but the difference between these 2 tours are that one of the tours is more, it's like the main focus is on exploration, the area. It's a scenic route. It connects different water-connected natural and cultural sites. For example, the participants can visit. They walk along a very beautiful stream in the valley. They visit a waterfall. It's just also connecting the municipality of Werfenweg with the neighboring municipality of Bischofshofen. And the other tour is more focusing on the awareness rising. So the focus is on the ski area. The participants are visiting the ski area and the water storage, for example. So they really, they can discuss with the guide about all these topics, like water as a resource, how they want to, how winter tourism and tourism in general should be developed and should work. And both of these tours started in the beginning of the summer season, so in May, and they will continue in autumn as well. And apart from these tours, we have also spent some money from the pilot action costs on the communication. So they are not finished yet, all of them. They will be finished in the next weeks. So in the end, we will have very professional photographs and videos on the tours, but also featuring and showing some voices out of the area of the community. And we will have a press release, and also we will have what was the third, the flyer. We will have an information flyer. So just to sum up in a few words, I think we are just in the beginning of the process. So I think it's very important to continue and to work on the other fields of action as well, and also on the mindset shift. And thank you everyone, to all of the partners.
Thank you so much. Now let's move to Slovenia, to Bohinj. Pictures. Please show also the second slide, so it's nice to see the pictures. Please.
Hello. I would like to highlight a few pilot actions that we that I think it was very important for Bohinj stakeholders. So through the project, we collaborate with various experts in tourism, climatologists, environmentalists, various So with their knowledge and insight, we defined goals that would enable Bochum to take significant step forward to developing year-round tourism that coexists harmoniously with nature and the local community. Bochum is definitely a forward-thinking destination, but when it comes to sustainable tourism, with exceptional respect for its natural environment. However, Bochum faces with increasing pressure on as a summer destination. So we think with the tourism development concept for outdoor tourism, we can focus and serve this concept as a springboard for reviving the outdoor center located outside the main tourist zones of the municipality. Tourism development concept will include an assessment of the feasibility of investment in the short and the long term. Infrastructure and development replaces for outdated ski lifts and the enhancement of the tourism offer, like bike trails and thematic parks. So the ski lifts exist, but they are worn out, so need to be replacement, and the investment will be taken over by the various stakeholders of Bochum Tourism and DMO. But I want to say that ski lifts exist, but they are worn out and need to be replaced. Also, there is one interesting investor who can invest, and they will start from the lower part near the settlement, and then to develop the all year round tourism, specifically focused on sport activities for families and tourists for outdoor activities. So study tours in Austria, one was in Selbach and the second will be in Weissensee, also in October. So we think it is very important to go outside the pilot area to learn from successful examples and transferring ideas to the local environment, and networking, collaborating, and also finding other potential partners. And the last thing I want to highlight is youth. In Bochum, we collaborate with primary school. We want to raise visibility of the project, also among Bochum citizens, stakeholders, and youth. We collaborate with Triglav National Park and raise awareness of climate change, how to affect on nature. So the next lecture we have in the primary school in 9th of October, challenges in tourism through the prism of the youth. So the last few sentences, tourism is one of the key economic sectors in Bochum, but it faces demographic challenges and a lack of interest among young people. So the industry goes far beyond the accommodation and hospitality, encompassing fields like nature conservation, culinary art, digital marketing, and the natural link between tourism and agriculture offers sustainable development opportunities, especially through local cuisine and on-farm experiences. Due to climate change and increasingly mild winters, there is a growing need for a new year-round tourism products and greater youth involvement in shaping the future of the destination. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's move to Germany, to Bayerischer Wald. Please.
Yeah, our topic with the pilot actions was expectations. And disappointed expectations. Now it's September, autumn is starting, and maybe now you have already booked your winter holiday, Christmas holiday. Did you? Who has booked the winter holidays? The skiing holidays, hopefully not Maldives. Where are you going, Andrea? Oh yeah, okay. But we are thinking and we're looking with our family and kids, we're looking at pictures, we're looking at websites, we're looking at folders, at brochures. Maybe we go to the travel agency and we maybe want to go to Werfenweng, maybe to Bohin, and we have a look at all those beautiful pictures, you know, snow that high, it's all glistening. The trees, they're all full with this snow, you know, and it's all in the evening with the lights and it's snow everywhere. And that's an expectation our pilot area, and I think many other pilot areas, cannot meet anymore. We just don't have these piles of glistening snow and powder snow on the pistes. So that was our pilot action, demanded by our local stakeholders to make realistic and honest pictures to be used in tourism marketing of what we do really expect, what you can expect at the Große Arba, our pilot ski area. So here, yes, we do have snow. There is artificial snow, maybe, but there is snow, and the first picture is really good. But the next picture, you see a very important train station, a hub, no snow. It just doesn't look fantastic. It doesn't look tempting, but it's honest. And now we don't screw the expectations very high, and the people arrive and you're falling down into a ditch. But they see a more realistic picture of that is the lady who runs up. This is in December. She runs up. She can do orienteering run. There is no snow. She can easily run up there. And other people just enjoy wellness in, what is it, January. So we produced very realistic pictures of unfavorable winter conditions. Of course, still putting them in a nice frame. But with snow, yes, in the best case, but most of all without snow, maybe with rain, maybe with mud. And then, you know, the expectations, especially the expectations of the kids, are on another level. And so that was our pilot project. We had 100 photos and 10 videos produced, and they can be readily used by all public stakeholders for all channels, all tourism marketing of Bayerischer Wald. So it was maybe, when I compare it to your pilot actions, a little bit more simple, but quite realistic, quite down to earth. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's nice to destroy expectations with smile on your face. Let's go on. Let's move to Métabier. France, please.
Hi, everyone. So I would like to explain you two realistic as well actions. The first one is an educational tour that we did with my colleagues. So as you know, Métabier, it's a ski resort and but we would like to be more a mountain resort. So we did an educational tour in Switzerland, our neighbors, in the Swiss Alps. And we bring together different stakeholders. So we bring our colleagues, we bring as well economic shops or different kind of this thing, and the politician. So the journey beginning in the bus. So it was very, very interesting to see everybody who is talking about the future of Métabier with politicians, with stakeholders like economic shops, and the colleagues. And it's a small budget, but it's only the budget for the buses. And it's everything in Switzerland are very, very friendly. So it was free in Switzerland for us. So thank you, Swiss people. Thank you, Peter. So, oh, no, not a lot. Huh? So this was the first action, but it's an action in old strategy. Okay, so that was the beginning, and the second picture. So things I would like to show you is the design of a summit Moroni. So Moroni Summit, it's our summit in Métabier. It's not very high because it's 1,400 meters of altitude. But as you remember, some of you, it was very cold at the summit when we were there last year. But this picture, it's when it's sunny, okay, at the top. But we decided to design with kind of architect bureau the design of the future of the summit, because what is very important for us is to create activity at the top to make money with our chairlift. Okay, it's for the future of Métabier. It's very important to have incomes and guarantee new revenue for the ski lift. So this design was made with our colleagues as well, and we made it to make a recreational place for children, for family, and not only for the mountain bikers. Okay, because Métabier during the summer it's only for mountain bike, not only, but there is a lot of it's 90%, Guillaume, I think, of customers. So the pedestrians are very low in percentage of our customers. So it was very important for us to develop the summit. So it's the second action I would like to show you. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, let's go to the next. Let's go back to Germany. It's online. He is online. Subtle.
Yes,
Okay,
I'm
let's
on.
go
No.
to Switzerland then. Yep, there you go.
Yes, thank you. So actually, just a few words to the destination of Sattelhof-Stückli in the middle of Switzerland. Actually, of course, the main aim is also to extend the offer of four-season tourism. And we were inspired by Métabier and the Arc of Jura, yes, the French Arc of Jura, of trail running. Actually, in Switzerland is upcoming, but not on the stage or development stage of as in France. So trail running is interesting for Sattelhof-Stückli because we have almost no snow in winter. So actually people can also run or do this sport in winter times or early in spring. So and it's more interesting than biking because the rope cabin, the rope railway has very limited transportation capacities. So with bikes, you have a problem to bring up the people, and trail running is therefore very interesting. So we also organized an event, a trail running event with quite some people participating, and we want to develop further this offer. We already developed a map also with different facilities, where to go, where to have lunch, etc. So we also are doing or developing excursion programs, new offers for excursion programs, scientific excursion programs, also with a topic of climate change adaptation, but also the natural resources of Sattelhof-Stückli. Then optimizing ski operations. I told just before there's few snow in Sattelhof-Stückli, usually in winter time. So we had to reduce the offer of ski lifts, but there are still some ski lifts, and we optimized the artificial snowing in Sattelhof-Stückli. So, and going to a beginner strategy. So not just trying to satisfy everybody in skiing, but the beginners, families, foreigners, expats that are not so used to skiing, they come to Sattelhof-Stückli. And then, of course, the extension of the use of infrastructure, just or only invest in future into infrastructure that can be used all year round, which is, for example, the new summer toboggan planned to be introduced, implemented in the next few years. So I just move one forward for the slides, or for the pictures, rather. No, this is the wrong way. So you can see a bit the trail running activities, the map we have developed, toboggan, then the beginner strategy, very beginning, and some excursion highlights also we did, and we want to develop more. Yeah. So these are the news from Sattel Stuckli. Thank you for your attention.
We have an online contribution now for Balderschwang.
Hello, everybody. Welcome from my side. I'm sorry that I cannot be with you. My colleague Maya was supposed to hold the presentation on site. She should arrive in Torino yesterday, but she's stranded somewhere in the Italian Alps with public transport. So yeah, it needs to be me on the screen. So our most important implementation measure in Balderschwang was also a content production, and as Carmen already explained the reasoning for that very well, I didn't choose that for my presentation. Then we also supported Balderschwang with the application for project funding. And I thought that showing you a screenshot from some project applications wouldn't also be very appealing. So I selected our third implementation measure, and it was a guided nature tour about the topic landscape without snow. So Balderschwang is located in the nature park Nagelflughette. It's a cross-border nature park of 15 municipalities. And they already provide several offers for environmental and education. There are some rangers hired at this nature park, and the offers are very well perceived by locals and guests. So with our action plan, we decided that we want to build on that cooperation and that we want to create some additional offers to raise Balderschwang's attractiveness year-round. And yes, this guided nature tour was focusing on the changes that are occurring in the landscape when there is a lack of snows, and it also highlighted nature's adaptation measures in the territory. We developed the tour in the fall of last year, so November until January, February, and then we offered it for the first time in March 2025. This was during school holidays. And when we click to the next slide, please. These are now the photos from the tour itself when we offered it. And here you can see very well that on the north-facing side of Balderschwang, there is still some snow. The ski slopes were still open, but not all of them. Cross-country skiing wasn't possible any longer. And on the south-facing slopes, south-facing side of the village, it was already green, or rather brown. And so creating this nature tour was really a chance to have an additional offer during a time where there's still school holidays, still some guests around, but not all of the whole spectrum of snow-related activities aren't possible any longer. Also, what was really nice, that through this topic of adaptation of nature, we also got to discuss the socioeconomic perspective of the lack of snow, what it means for a destination like Balderschwang, how it has to adapt. And we were able to reach out to locals and guests, because we not only offered it as part of the guests program, but also as a as a, let's say, educational offer for hosts, so that we were able to train the hosts in Balderschwang in this topic, that they can explain the challenge also to their guests and explain more about Balderschwang's new strategy going forward. And as the program was successful, it will be offered in the upcoming seasons as well. Thank you from my side. Thumbs up from Andrea. So I hope you heard me well, and I wish you a good exchange.
Okay, let's move to the area we are going to see tomorrow. So please, yeah. You have 1 or 2 minutes more.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Sorry, but I prefer to speak in Italian and to show the Monesi area. Dunque, per riuscire a definire le strategie, siamo partiti da quelle che sono delle analisi statistiche. L'area di Monesi non poteva essere considerata a sé, ma è stata considerata con un territorio più ampio, quello della Valle Arroscia, un territorio che presenta una forte situazione di depopolamento e un depauperamento dei servizi pubblici. Inoltre abbiamo capito che la comunità era fortemente frammentata. Questo semplicemente da un'analisi statistica, che poi è stata accompagnata da un'analisi più qualitativa. Da questa analisi è emerso, ad esempio, che c'era un sentimento di nostalgia verso quello che era il sistema dello sci di Monesi. Vi faccio presente che molti liguri hanno imparato a sciare a Monesi. Stiamo parlando della montagna più alta della Liguria, e quindi c'è anche un sentimento molto forte che è ancora radicato non soltanto nella comunità dell'Alta Valle Arroscia, ma in gran parte della Liguria. Quindi un cambiamento difficile da attuare. Per questo è stato ideato un percorso durato quasi 3 anni, 2 anni e mezzo, che ha visto una forte partecipazione della comunità, intesa come amministratori, come imprenditori, come associazioni, come Proloco, tutti i soggetti proattivi. Da lì siamo riusciti anche ad individuare alcune forme embrionali di innovazione per questo territorio, che aveva un'economia molto importante legata al mondo dello sci e a Monesi. Il risultato finale, il principale obiettivo raggiunto, è stato quello di definire un protocollo di transizione territoriale, una carta di intenti sottoscritta appunto non soltanto dai soggetti locali, ma anche dalla provincia di Imperia, quindi un soggetto che permette di raggiungere delle reti molto più ampie, delle reti panalpine, e che ha permesso già di attuare una serie di azioni, quindi la provincia a supporto di un territorio marginale che garantisca, come dire, anche il successo e la centralità rispetto delle esigenze portate da chi vive quotidianamente quei territori. Questa carta di intenti è una carta a cui uno può aderire in modo volontario, è una carta leggera anche per quanto riguarda l'approccio rispetto a quelle che sono, come dire, le procedure amministrative, ed è una carta che ogni anno si rinnova, quindi c'è l'obbligo di ritrovarsi intorno ad un tavolo tutti gli anni per decidere qual è il progetto in divenire, quindi un qualche cosa che è in grado di rispondere anche alle esigenze imminenti, visto anche l'esigenza di questo territorio di avere delle risposte molto più veloci. 2 piccole azioni che sono in fase di attuazione. La prima è quella di dare nuova vitalità a quella che è tutto il sistema della cucina bianca. C'è una tradizione molto forte legata al fatto che il mondo delle produzioni locali legate al latte si incontra col mondo delle produzioni locali legate all'olio. È un territorio molto particolare, siamo in un territorio molto prossimo al mare. È nata quindi una tradizione legata alla cucina, al saper fare, un qualche cosa che è presente nel DNA dei locali, ma che in questo momento non è valorizzata al meglio. Quindi c'è una vera e propria attività di recupero della tradizione e riproposta in una chiave naturalmente di comunità. Altra importante iniziativa che permette di mantenere vivo il network locale tra i soggetti del territorio. Come vi dicevo, la comunità è molto frammentata, oltre che essere anche, come dire, di una certa età. Abbiamo definito un calendario di eventi che potesse permettere di mantenere delle relazioni stabili e durature all'interno di questo contesto di alta montagna. E questo ha permesso di ottenere come primo risultato una nuova immagine in cui la comunità si può riconoscere e che può anche essere esportata all'esterno. Naturalmente questo è un qualche cosa che può essere implementato durante gli anni successivi, un qualche cosa che apparentemente può sembrare molto semplice da realizzare, in verità nasconde diverse insidie, localismi, piuttosto che insomma situazioni ormai, come dire, che questo territorio ha vissuto per troppo tempo e che non è in grado di affrontare con, come dire, anche una nuova proposta culturale. Questa è una vera e propria cultural base practice. Manca una slide, ma era la slide del programma di domani. Domani andremo appunto su questo territorio. Avete già visto tutti quanti il programma e quindi scopriremo assieme questo territorio. Abbiamo visto che anche il meteo sarà dalla nostra parte e quindi non creiamo troppe aspettative, ma ci saranno delle cose interessanti da vedere e da vivere sul posto. Grazie a tutti.
So looking forward being there tomorrow. And now let's go to the last talk of the morning and resilience-oriented policy guidelines. Peter? Yeah. And then we will have time for all your questions that you are keeping inside from the very first moment. So please.
Thank you. So I'm just looking for the remote control. Good. Yeah, I'm here in front of you to present you the resilience-oriented policy guidelines. Actually, the idea was to put everything into one pack. What you heard this morning also, we know that the snow tourism destinations, they are very much challenged with climate change. We need new models, new strategies to really face these challenges. And the transition strategies you have already been presented. They are needed to stay resilient, to stay competitive in these times of change. So these policy guidelines, they were meant to provide out of this big bunch of results kind of, yes, guidelines for snow tourism destination managers, economic actors, regional decision makers, put everything together, providing them with these guidelines to really face the endeavors of climate change. So just moving forward. So there are 4 steps of these policy principles for climate change transition of snow tourism destinations. We are first drafting a clear picture of the resources and assets of your destinations. We heard we made this analysis of structure of guests, structure of frequencies, summer, winter. We had also then in a second point the different methodologies, how to come up with these transition strategies, like sensitive analysis, strengths and weaknesses analysis, stakeholder analysis, etc., etc. And then in a third step, one destination manager should elaborate these transition strategies. And they were presented by Carmen Mentil and Elena Di Bella. How come up with these different strategies, how to unite people, the population behind these strategies, how to elaborate that. And this is, of course, a living document. So you have steadily, iteratively developed these strategies. They are a live document. And then on a fourth step, we have the constant monitoring of these transition strategies. And we saw there, we have the climate decision-making tool, which has been presented by Katharina Ziegler. So this is also, again, iterative process. You have to know the pattern, and then you can monitor your steps and you can adapt the strategies. So these are the four guiding principles for the tourism destination managers, for the regional decision makers. And this can all be found in our policy guidelines document on our website. And it's really kind of a compendium of our project. So here we see all the destinations participating in our project. But I have to tell you, Simona, sorry for that. I forgot to insert Piani d'Erna. But it looks almost like a Monesiso. Actually, we have different challenges. And every destination was actually going its different own individual way within the transition strategies according to their territorial challenges. So actually, we have with Sattel Hochstuckli, for example, we have really a day tourism destination with very few hotels, very few secondary homes. Then on the other side, we have Werfenweng with perhaps 150,000 overnight stays in wintertime. We have also the situation that some destinations are very much winter oriented still, or summer orientated. We have some destinations like Bochin, where we have the nature park that is very important, but also limiting the operations. You cannot just do artificial snowing as you like. So every destination has its own properties and its own solution. And just as a reminder, we have here the whole collection of these 10 destinations with strategies already presented by Carmen and Elena. And they're all very different. And but we have identified 5 clusters of, sorry, no, it's too far. We have identified 5 clusters of strategies like expansion of winter offers, expansion of summer offers, then also optimizing ski operations, the development of current future tourism offer more towards sustainability and really the extensive marketing of this concept. And then also, I'm just looking, where is it? Radibosco with diversification, strengthening of the local regional economy. So having more an integrative perspective of that and developing the general local regional economy with the activities. So just as kind of, we made a survey also among the partners to see who are actually the key actors to be involved into the elaboration of a transition strategy. And there we have on the first point, the local administration and government bodies, so mayors, municipal members of the municipal council, for example. It's gold worth if you have a good mayor, an engaged mayor. Then, of course, the destination management organizations, very important as a kind of the company entrepreneurial perspective, and then private sector and business communities. So these were the first three, the most important key actors to really initiate the transition strategy. Then success factors, of course, inclusive stakeholder engagement and strategy development. You have to be very careful about governance, coordination, and cooperation. So looking for a top-down approach, but combined with grassroots approaches. And then public awareness and climate considerations are important. And you should address key development themes. So be also careful about human resources, infrastructures, etc. So these are a bit the lessons learned and fingers burned. That's why the picture looks like that. Thumbs up, but sometimes you have also some painful experiences. But all in all, I think we had really collected, assembled a lot of very valuable experiences during our 3 years of work in the territories. And I think, which we can also be very proud of it, we have been very close to the people in the territories. And that's really not just a thing that is very common within projects. So I think we had really an impact. And a great thank you for the whole partnership for that. And yes, the policy guidelines can be downloaded. And I think it's also a good reference document that makes a link to our main outcomes. So you will find also at the very end of this document a list with our main outputs so that you get an easy orientation within our project, I would say. Okay, thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Andrea?
Coming to the end.
Coming to the end. Now,
But
before the most important thing that is the lunch, there is time for you. So
Not for the moment.
not for the moment.
No.
Andrea has always
We'll change the beat.
unforeseen surprises for us.
No, please. We asked the first person in charge of the idea of the project, the beginning, to give us a short talk. Please, Wanda Bonardo from Legambiente, Cipra, and so on and so far, a lot of environmental association, very close to the mountain issue, to close because you are the first. And then is, I think, right to give you the floor for closing our project.
Thank you. And I apologize because my English is not so fluent, and then I prefer to speak Italian because it's not easy to say something of sense about a big and complex project. Ok. Grazie Andrea, grazie per questa opportunità. Sì, è vero, noi sentivamo il bisogno di un progetto come questo, dico noi ambientalisti ma non solo. E devo ricordare come 4 anni fa l'idea non fu solo mia, ma fu anche di Maurizio De Matteis, che non so se è ancora in sala. No, è andato via. E ecco, e insieme ragionavamo sul bisogno di avere un progetto come questo, e non solo uno, tanti progetti come questi. Io mi occupo anche di ghiacciai, redigo il dossier Neve Diversa che si occupa, che riguarda il turismo invernale, e quindi tocco con mano questi problemi, i problemi della crisi climatica. E quindi c'era il bisogno di provare a capire come affrontare questi problemi, con lo stile nostro, del nostro ambientalismo, che non è solo di denuncia, ma è anche di provare a capire come organizzare la resilienza ambientale ed economica. e magari incominciando laddove ci sono più fragilità, perché in alto i grandi comprensori forse hanno meno problemi, mentre sono i piccoli, quelli legati alle amministrazioni e ai comuni, che hanno bisogno di essere aiutate. Quindi l'importanza di un progetto come questo, che riguardi il turismo invernale, perché sappiamo benissimo come il turismo non è un'attività qualsiasi per l'economia della montagna, sia esso invernale o estivo. È fondamentale per lo sviluppo economico della montagna. E allora, ecco, questa idea di questo progetto, con questo approccio utile, secondo noi, per affrontare il problema, un approccio multisettoriale, un approccio che parte con uno sguardo scientifico rigoroso. Penso a tutto il lavoro di monitoraggio fatto da Eurac e non solo, che si è poi tradotto in uno strumento utile per le amministrazioni. E questo è un altro passaggio importante, perché spesso gli studi rimangono nei cassetti, non si traducono in azioni, in strumenti utili. Un progetto che andasse su una dimensione territoriale, perché non c'è una ricetta unica, ciascuna situazione è a sé stante e abbiamo visto questo bellissimo panorama di situazioni e di modalità diverse. Un progetto basato sulla cooperazione e sulla partecipazione, dove secondo noi è fondamentale la presenza delle amministrazioni, così come dell'impresa privata e dei cittadini. Un progetto dove il fattore umano è fondamentale, e penso a Benoît, a quello che diceva, dove la transizione può funzionare. E questo è un altro aspetto importante, perché noi, nonostante le problematiche della crisi, noi dobbiamo costruire speranza. Guai a quell'atteggiamento, peggio ancora quell'ambientalismo che è solo depressivo. Dobbiamo costruire speranza, dobbiamo capire come superare le paure e quindi il desiderio, che si trasforma in azione, che diventa fondamentale. Così pure l'attenzione ai conflitti, perché è chiaro, situazioni diverse, storie diverse, il passato con il nuovo, interessi differenti. L'altro aspetto che io ritengo importante, che è stato affrontato in questo progetto, è quello della comunicazione. Non per niente noi come Lega Ambiente ci siamo offerti della comunicazione. La comunicazione è fondamentale in questi contesti, perché non basta fare le cose bene, bisogna anche saperle comunicare bene, perché solo così è possibile far comprendere e far comprendere agli altri le trasformazioni in atto. Perché non c'è niente di peggio del mantenimento di un atteggiamento, dell'atteggiamento di chi continua a fare le cose come se nulla fosse accaduto. Business as usual. E quindi la comunicazione utile per spostare il punto di vista. Ecco, è vero, è un cambiamento culturale, lo diceva prima Elena Di Bella e sono d'accordo con lei, è un cambiamento fondamentale. Questo progetto chiaramente è un mattone, ecco, noi auspichiamo che ci siano altri mattoni e auspichiamo che questo progetto non finisca qui, anche rispetto alla comunicazione, io poi lo racconterò a Andrea, ho anche qualche idea per continuare a valorizzare questo percorso. E ecco, io ho visto una grande disponibilità di tutti questi partner, di questi gruppi, che è fondamentale, una disponibilità a costruire. Io credo che sia anche la nostra reazione da persone civili in opposizione alla distruzione che sta emergendo in questo mondo. E credo che sia anche il nostro modo di essere militanti, no? Quindi la nostra militanza anche attraverso questi percorsi. Ecco, tutto questo adesso chiudo ricordando solo una piccola, diciamo piccola tra virgolette questione, non piccola a dire il vero. La crisi sta accelerando, ve lo potrei raccontare con i dati sui ghiacciai che noi stiamo monitorando e su tutta una serie di altre questioni. Abbiamo poco tempo. Quindi l'importanza di non perdere tempo e ricordarci, come spesso abbiamo l'abitudine di dire, che il tempo di agire è ora.
Thank you, Wanda.
So now we are really there to questions. Please raise your hands and don't be shy. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone for the sharing of the information and outcomes. A question for Elena Di Bella and Carmen Mentil. Did you find some types or clusters between the areas? A question for Peter.
No, wait, one by one.
One by one, okay.
No, keep the microphone, you have another one.
Some clusters, you mean?
For example, the areas, the pilot areas,
if
different
there are
size. You said there were different strategies,
Yes.
different areas, everything different. But are there some similarities between the areas that could lead to
an
similar?
area? No. On my point of observation, not really. Even in Italy, when we are close to Lombardy, but the pilot action and the strategies are different because we are different regions, different policy, government, etc. Not really. The only big cluster is the altitude. The fact that we are all at the medium altitude, then this is the real aspect.
I would say, I hope it's correct. Peter, you worked on that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, as I mentioned, you need place-based solutions to face the endeavors of climate change. So that's why we have very different strategies. And one thing that is perhaps in common is that all destinations, they are heading towards kind of a diversification. So diversification is important, but they are trying different things, and they have they always care or keep on a specific focus. And this specific focus we identified is actually, yes, these 5 categories, like the optimization of or securing these key operations. So you try to continue with key operations, but you have perhaps to reduce these key facilities. You have to optimize snowing, artificial snowing, reducing it to specific slopes that are less expensive, or you go to higher altitudes, for example. And then we have also the expansion of snow tourism offers. They can be snow dependent or snow independent. So not just going for ski operations like the first one, but also look for other opportunities in wintertime, snow dependent or snow independent offers. Then we have the expansion of summer offers. And we have also the kind of more an overall strategy going towards a sustainable overall the development of a tourism destination, and do very heavily marketing on that. Like, for example, Werfenweng, which is already since decades almost known for its smart mobility, soft mobility offer, and people they are really going also. This is a part of the offer or part of the attraction of this destination. So people are really heading towards this destination to see what they are doing in this field, and they do a lot of marketing on this sustainable tourism issue. And then as a last strategy, we had this the one that destination is looking for a really very integrative development of the destination, including different sectors, not just the tourism sector. So this is a bit what we found out when analyzing these clusters, but all the destinations have in common, they want to be more strong, more resilient, and they look for diversification. But we have some focus, and this was actually, they were the categories we showed to you. Mm-hmm.
Two, but no, not necessary, but
during the lunch. No, sorry, please.
If there are no other questions, you can make yours, please.
To Andrea and Filippo Corradini, because we in Carnia we had some difficulties in finding the right size of the pilot working area. So putting in the shoes of a politician, for example, Marco Gallo, who works for Regione Piedmont, how could they help to find the right size, or which is the key to find the right size of the area where to put a process, to start a process?
I would say the key is, first of all, doing the first analysis. And as it was in Pradibosco, we, throughout the BeyondSnow project, we started with specific sites, most of all municipalities, throughout then the development, first of all, data analysis, and then the development of the transition strategies. Many of these sites actually increased their geographic area. Why? Because from a tourism perspective, sometimes an area does not have sufficient attraction points or even sufficient services to count as an overall tourism destination. So not enough accommodation, not enough attraction points, USPs, and so on. From this point on, the best way, I would say, as a municipal coordinator and so on, is to start to contact the municipalities which are around you, because there is I think, very high opportunity of municipalities working together to become an overall destination, tourism destination by themselves, and not to try to have all the services that are needed for tourists just as a small municipality, but to build on their specific strengths of these municipalities if they are close together. And this is some of the pilot working areas actually increased. Monesi, for instance, they increased also the area of the destination, which is most of all sometimes from a marketing perspective that you need to have a look at it. Because also for the tourist, actually the perception of the destination is very, very different. For me, I'm just talking about South Tyrol, for instance, where I come from. For maybe a German tourist which lives quite close to South Tyrol, for him or her, the destination is Bolzano. From a tourist that comes far away from the destination, it can increase, it can become South Tyrol, or even overseas tourists, they say Italy as a tourism destination. So it's a very variable concept. But as for small municipalities, I would say the cooperation with municipalities geographically around them would be a very good approach, in my opinion.
Questions? Yep.
Can you pass the thanks? Thank you. My question is to Carmen Mentel about the pilot action, because I found it quite interesting, this approach with the real photographs and realistic communication. And is there already feedback from the guests and also from the stakeholders on this? Do they want to show the realistic pictures?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. The the decision to make this pilot action and produce content, which is not beautiful snow, but other weather conditions, it was very strongly brought to us by the local stakeholders. But as of today, I would not have approved that is really used well, because we just closed the pilot action and the content is given to the local stakeholders. But we did get one feedback from an observer already saying it's difficult to use it. In really glossy brochures, the most important websites, it is difficult to use. So it's more maybe communication from municipal point of view than from like highest level tourism. It's really difficult. I mean, if, as I said, no glistening, no snow, it's really difficult to sell, especially when it's raining down cats and dogs. Yeah, so it's a good question. It's really difficult.
Thank you. Other questions?
Otherwise, I take the floor.
Okay, Andrea, take the floor.
Okay. It's not the end of the project, because the project ends at the end of October. So, but let me thank all the partners here and online participating to this conference. Thank you very much for your support. 3 years of very hard job. And also to, we would like to thank me and Philipp and the other colleagues in the Eurac team. Thanks also our observer for the support, because you are a lot, and maybe the most part of our observer are here today. And we would like also to take the opportunity together, project partners and observer, to take a photo at the end of the meeting here. Please remember this. Then coming to the end, we would like to thank a lot of people and give the floor to Philipp for the final words. But I would like to thank the interpreters. Thanks a lot for the interpretation service, Intralp team, and also Converso team for the supporting, because the interpreter is not here, are online, and this means a lot of technical aspects to manage. Also our team behind the scene in the room behind. Thank you for all this beautiful, very beautiful and wonderful room. That's it for the technical aspects, right? Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. As lead partner, I would like to thank our head office, Thomas Streifeneder and Filippo, for joining us and for the moderation of today's meeting. But let me thank our accounting manager, Stefania Lockman, here, and our co-lead, Agnese. Then I would like to thank also a lot of people behind the scenes, of course. And let me thank, with a bottle of good South Tyrolean wine, the team of CMTO. Please, Francesca, Anna, and other colleagues, this is for you. Thank you for hosting today, for all the administrative and, of course, technical aspects. And, cuckoo, Fede. This battle is for you, for paying all of that, and for hosting, of course, today and tomorrow for the site visit. Thank you very much, Federica. Last but not least, we have the last battle. And the winner is, thank you, Matteo. This is for you. Thank you for this. Because these projects, all activities are funded by the Alpine Space Program. That's the point, very critical. Thanks a lot. And Philipp, last word.
Thank you very much. I'll try to be as short as possible. I know, thank you for your dedication to be here until the very end. So you saw, we all together, all the partners of the BeyondSnow project produced a lot of interesting insights. They're, of course, all freely available on the BeyondSnow internet website. And there are still, I think, 2 deliverables and 1 output missing, because we will finalize them throughout this last month of the project. And last month of the project, small tear going down, but as you might saw, we did not find the holy grail of climate change adaptation. But what we found was the very amazing dedication of our partners to work within the pilot working areas with a lot of dedication, and I think also a lot of patience, try to help them find their own climate change transition pathways. What we also found was, through the help of our partners, the courage of the pilot working destinations to face climate change head on. Of course, with many difficulties, sometimes also needing to change their system, which for many could be quite difficult, because of course we're talking about tourism systems which have been working like this for the past decades. So it's quite difficult to change your system as well. But most of them really showed a lot of courage to be guided as well to tackle this challenge of climate change head on. Their journey is just beginning, of course. We tried our best to, or the partners of most of all tried their best to support them, to giving them a blueprint where to work on, a flexible blueprint, which you might saw. So climate change adaptation strategies need to be flexible documents, living documents, which are actually adapted also because climate change also is changing. And for us as Eurac, our journey certainly does not end here, although the project will be ending. Maybe our journey is we just press maybe pause on this theme. We won't let it go. We want to work further on with this theme. So we will find certainly new opportunities for BeyondSnow project. So thank you very much for being here, and enjoy the lunch. You earned it.
And now we have to take a family picture. Please come here in front of. Yes, now the picture on the stage. Yes. Take the lead of the picture. Dite voi, fate voi. Yeah. And then for the partner meeting, you have to remember you at 2:30 on the first floor. The room is on the first floor, just one step down. And tomorrow, 8:30, the bus will start, okay, at 8:30.